All right, welcome to another episode of Warrior versus Zombie. And as always, I have an amazing warrior guest for you, Keith Shaw. I'll introduce him to you in a second, but first, let me remind you of why you're here. Success is a journey, it's not a destination. As warriors, we all have a history of ups and downs, wins and losses that are all part of making us who we are up to this point, and they provide a foundation for our path forward. We all battle our inner zombie as well as those zombies in our world. In each episode, I interview warriors from all walks of life: entrepreneurs, artists, business owners, health practitioners, literally any inspired leader that has a story to tell. These warriors have a cause, they have unique value, and a vision that goes generations into the future. And today's guest is no exception. Keith Shaw is an awesome warrior. He's a leadership and personal development speaker, he's a trainer, and he's a coach. His warrior journey includes over 20 years in Fortune 500 companies, a master's degree in management and leadership, and a role as a university professor. Keith is a DISC behavior style analyst and a John Maxwell certified speaker, trainer, and coach. He's a warrior for personal development, and he loves leadership and is committed to making the world a better place by serving others. Keith Shaw, welcome to Warrior versus Zombie. How are you on this Super Bowl Friday? I'm all Super Bowl full right now because I'm a massive Kansas City Chiefs fan, and so how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here and looking forward to sharing information and looking forward to this great Super Bowl game this weekend.
Yeah, I know. We talked a little before, and I know you think the Eagles are going to win, but that ain't happening. Chiefs are going to win. I'll have to eat it after if that doesn't happen. But I'm counting on Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey and some of my and Andy Reid and some of the others that are there. So, but I think if their defense comes in strong, we'll have a better chance. I think that's going to be the big. I think they both got Jalen Hurts and some of they've got both great teams. That's the thing. That's the most amazing thing I found was, when you look at these two teams, they actually have, through coming to this point in the playoffs, they have the exact same number of wins, the exact same number of losses, and they've scored the exact same number of points, and they're both were number one seeds in the AFC and the NFC. So if it has all of the right formula for a pretty fun game to watch, and it'll be a lot more fun if the Chiefs win from my perspective. So
Yeah, and remember, I want the Chiefs to win. I'm from
yeah,
Kansas. I want the Chiefs to win. I just feel that the Eagles are stacked pretty high.
well, they definitely are. This is, if for sure, it's not going to be a pushover, and it's just like everything else, right? It's just like everything in our warrior journey. There's always going to be challenges that occur during the game, before the game, that the warriors on either side are going to overcome, and at the end, they're either going to learn a lot or they're going to win. And I'm hoping that Kansas City learns and wins. So that's good. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. For the audio audience, I want to make sure you hear a little more of our theme song from Ricky Jean Wright. It's Not the Getting There. And we'll be back with Keith Shaw to hear his story in Warrior versus Zombie. All right, we are back. And Keith, like I said, that wasn't intending for this to be a Super Bowl discussion, but anyway, let's get into the Super Bowl of your warrior journey. Tell me how you got from where you started, and you can pick where that is. We want to hear the kind of the zombies you've overcome, and some of those things. And so, and then how you got to where you are today, and then we'll take another break and we'll talk about what you're doing today.
All right, thank you very much. So let me just start by saying I came from very humble beginnings. Grew up in Wichita, Kansas, in a community that had low income and high crime. and low expectations. So really had to work my way from nothing. And that's one thing that I definitely want to make sure is clear, that everything that I've come from has been, my mother and my father, created a great foundation for me. And the fact that they were able to help me or guide me and lead me through where I came from to where I am today is amazing. My father is the hardest working man I've ever known in my life. Worked 3 jobs throughout my childhood, a full-time job every day, a part-time job in the evenings, and then working, uh, doing landscaping and side jobs on the weekend. So he taught me the value of hard work. So he'd always say, "Son, uh, hard work will get it done for you." And then my mother taught me a couple things that are very important: to be kind and to love everyone. And between those uh, 3 things, work hard, be kind, and love everyone. That is the foundation of me, and that helped me to get from where I started to where I am today. But I started, uh, you know, as I mentioned, in a low income community, and we actually moved to a new community when I was 7 years old, and I was trying to get acclimated to meet people, and everybody played basketball, and I didn't. And so that was my first little challenge, just learning how to fit in into a new community. And I know we all experience that throughout our lives, but this
Mhm.
was a very pivotal time for me. And it's one that stands out in my life because I learned something during that uh, transition that I was able to utilize throughout the rest of my life, and it contributed to the success that I had. Um, I wanted to learn how to play basketball, and my father saw that I was unhappy because I wasn't making friends, and I told him that I wanted to learn how to play basketball. So he took one of his paychecks, a full week's worth of paycheck, and sent me to a basketball camp so that I
Wow.
could get training and coaching on how to play basketball. And I didn't realize at that time how important that was and how much of an impact it had for him to do that. But I'm so grateful for it because I learned some things at that camp that not only helped me improve my basketball skills, but I learned a process by which that I could use the rest of my life to learn whatever I wanted to learn and to help me become proficient in everything or in most things that I try to do. And that's being intentional. So, when I went to camp, I was exposed to this gentleman by the gentleman named George Lehman, and he taught me 3 things associated with how to shoot the ball. And I won't go into detail about those 3 things today, but I took those 3 things, and he told me, he said, "I want you to practice this every day. Practice these 3 things every day." And I listened to him, and I did it. And I went from not being able to play basketball to becoming a great shooter, which led to other positive things. Momentum helps us learn and grow. So not only did I become a great shooter, I became a great defender, a great rebounder, and I just learned more and more. I became a good basketball player. So I went from not being able to make friends because I couldn't play basketball to increasing my skills and ability, being able to play basketball, making my high school team, making all city honors, making all state honors, and then eventually getting a college scholarship. Remember, I came from a low income
Mhm.
community. Without that scholarship, I wasn't going to college. And
Right.
so that's why I say what I learned from him helped me to get where I am today, because most likely I would not have gotten that degree. I would not have gotten an opportunity to go to work for Fortune 500 companies, and I probably would not be here standing before you today.
That is such a great story, and it's a great journey. One of the things for the audience, there's a couple things that you said, both zombie-like and warrior-like. So let's kind of hit those. One of the things I heard, and again, I love the way as a warrior you realize that there's challenges, because you said there. One of the things you said was low expectations, not just low income, but low expectations, and that's what we expect of ourselves as well as what we expect of others or those around us, can have a huge effect, positive or negative, on our lives. And what I heard there was that wasn't just necessarily totally inherent, those high expectations or the expectations weren't aligned, but you did have those extremely strong foundational components of your father who you could see was working and created that work ethic in you. And you can work hard, but then you need to have those things that enable you to build a relationship. So you had some challenges, zombies, if you will, with building those relationships. I mean, I run a networking group. This is Warrior Networking. We do, and part of that is your your ability to build those relationships. I consider as a warrior, my most valuable asset is what we're sharing right now, which is my time and your time. And I appreciate that. I treat that as a investment of gold, if you will. If you listen to the theme song of this podcast, you'll understand that. But also, it's an investment in community. My second most valuable asset is my network, is my community, my family, my church, my community, everybody, anybody that comes into my path, because that will make a difference. And that's what you shared in that other part of your story, is the challenge of building those relationships, but ultimately having some mentors and some opportunity. I love sports. That's why I'm so geeked up about the Super Bowl, because I played basketball as well. Um, and being on a team, knowing that not only your success is dependent upon your hard work, but you have an impact on the team and you're developing your skills, being an asset to your team gets you that pull, that relationship that I think we all need and strive for. Does that all resonate with you when you relate that to your story? Is that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to also add another little piece to it because it's very important. The going to camp and getting uh, the the lessons from the people at the camp was great, but I also had the benefit of family, friends, sports coaches, um, and just friends who also poured into me, shared information with me, and helped me to realize that I was capable of accomplishing more than the circumstances that I was born into. So that gave me hope for the future. They also helped me to see the possibilities and that
Mm-hmm.
there were far more things available to me than I knew. And that helped to broaden my horizons. And then that plus having the knowledge that with intentionality, I can do anything. It was just a matter of setting my next goal. And I've utilized that, throughout the rest of my life.
Well, that's brilliant, really, Keith. It's really, really more powerful, I think. I think you realize it because it manifests in your life. But the most powerful things you can do for somebody, and that's kind of what I focus on, right? In terms of reminding you why you're here, looking at the unique value, because you have unique value, and every warrior that listens to this podcast, every warrior that's on their own journey, um, they have unique value. But then the other thing is, if anything were possible, and I think we so often, I don't think, I know because I have it myself as well as when I work with clients, we we basically limit our possibilities. We limit our possibilities of what we can do or what is possible a lot of times. That zombie of saying, okay, I haven't experienced it. Maybe you didn't see it. A lot of times you know that, or that's something, I'd like to live in that house, or I'd like to have that kind of lifestyle, or I'd like to have those kind of relationships. But you've either tried and failed, and so therefore created a box, or you weren't exposed to it, or one of the things you said that was extremely powerful is somebody saw possibilities in you that you didn't see in yourself. And once your mind opened up to that, now, as you said, you're at a place where if you can imagine it, and again, it doesn't, you don't have to know how. If you can imagine it, you have a belief in yourself that you can do it, right? I mean, that's what I heard. And maybe I'm overstating, but I think that's what you told me just now.
No, absolutely. You've hit it perfectly, and that's part of what I like to do. Also, is to remind people that they have the green light. The green light's a sports term. Not everybody knows it, so let me explain it. Michael Jordan had a green light. The coach basically said, "Hey, you can do whatever you like to do. It means that you have control. You can make whatever decision you like." And so I remind people. I feel like part of my mission on this earth is to remind people that they have the green light. They have control over their future, and we get distracted by life every day, and sometimes we forget that we can create the life that we desire and deserve. And I'm here to remind people that they have the green light.
Boy, I love that. I got to tell you, it's the zombie mind that creates the red light. And I know exactly that term that, I think Tom Brady, I think other, Patrick Mahomes, if we're talking about anybody who becomes the GOAT or becomes greatest of all times, like Michael Jordan, I'm a big fan. I lived in Detroit. I was a Detroit Pistons fan, actually, because I was there for their 2 back-to-back NBA championships. But then Michael came in and whooped them. But I love that because, yes, that's the thing is there may be a system. You may be on a team, right? You may have things that the structure that you're playing in, whether it's a company, a business, a system, a model, but you got the green light. We all have the green light, right? And I love the fact that that's what you're focused on. Well, let's do this. Let's take another break, and we'll get into what you're focused on today. We'll get into today. Let's hear a little more of our theme song. It's not the getting there, it's a journey every day, and by Ricky Jean Wright. And then we'll come back and hear why you're doing what you're doing and so on as we come back after hearing a break for the audio audience with Keith Shaw. All right, we are back. Keith, that was very inspiring, and I love your story. I love your perspective. The thing I love the most, by the way, and I didn't say it last time, but as we go into this segment, is that you decided that what you found that empowered and enabled you to get to where you are, you're now wanting to share with others and remind them that it's not just you that's got the green light. They got the green light too. So let's take off from there. So why are you doing what you're doing today? What's you see as your life purpose at this point going forward, and what kind of value are you bringing to the party as you see it, and so on?
Yeah, I feel so blessed to have accomplished the things that I've accomplished in my life. And as we go through life, we see so many different things that you wish you could have an impact on. So one of the things that I want to impact is I want to help other people shorten their learning curve. I want to make sure other people know that they're capable of far more than they know they're capable of, and that they need to start the process of understanding themselves so that they can start pursuing those gifts and share them with the world. And part of it is selfish because helping people succeed makes me happy. And so if I can help somebody else win, then they win and I win as well. So, those are reasons why I do what I do. And I feel like there's a lot of people who've forgotten that they've got the green light. You can find out very easily just by asking people, what's your development plan? What are you doing to prepare yourself for the future? Most people aren't able to answer that question because they haven't taken the time to assess where they are or figure out where they want to go so that they can close the gap. And if you just think about when we were in the second and third grade and our teacher asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some people said a football player, some people said a doctor, some people said an actor, but they left it at that. They didn't, in most cases, nobody told us to go and put together a plan so that we can start working to accomplish whatever it is we want to be. And so, part of my mission is to help others reach their full potential so that we can make a positive difference in the lives of others. And so I do what I can to help people realize their full potential so they can design the lives that they desire and deserve.
That's amazing. And that is really so powerful because we do forget. I love, I have 5 kids. And so, I mean, and I love the progression in many respects. I love where they're at when they start, which anything is possible, right? If they imagine it, believe it, I can be a spaceman, I can be a firefighter, I can be a ballerina, I can be, a pop singer, whatever it happens to be, right? The thing I don't like is we need people like you to remind us from that point all the way through our lives that is possible, but it's a journey and you have to work on it every day and you have to continue to believe in it and you do it. I think we all, as kids, we do things with intensity, right? We go in and we want to do it all and we run in and we have challenges. But then the problem is the people that are around us sometimes, they know what they failed at and they know what they think is possible, and they try to limit the possibilities that child sees, and they ultimately don't. And it's not just children, by the way. I say child because it's so easy to see in the kindergarten classroom versus high school. I mean, you can go in and say, how many people believe they can be an astronaut in kindergarten, and all the kids raise their hand, right? How many people believe they can be an astronaut their senior year of high school and nobody raises their hand? Now you say, well, that's just logical. No, maybe there was an astronaut in there that got lost along the way. So making sure that they remember all along the way that it's a plan, an executed plan that they're working on for their benefit, and you're helping them with that. So if anything were possible, and oh, by the way, as I always say, everything is possible for you, what kind of impact are you hoping to have?
Yeah, my desire is to, at one point I set a number. I thought, you know what, before I leave this earth, I want to help 1 million people realize their potential and accomplish their dreams. And I thought, and then I discovered it's kind of hard to keep track of that. So, my objective is to just share the message with as many people as I can. And, as you can share the message with people. Some will take it and run with it. Some may not. My objective is to make sure that I am reminding as many people as possible that they have the green light, and that personal development and leadership are the gateway to their gifts. Those are things that cause you to be introspective, to assess where you are, to identify where you want to go, and then create a clear plan to get there. And so I want to encourage people. Well, number one, give them the information that this is what you do, because I think people want to do that, but they don't know how. So I show people how, and I also would like to be able to go with them on the journey to make sure they don't get distracted, because they may start on the pathway, and before you know it, life comes in and gets them distracted again. So I just want to be able to help as many people fulfill their potential and their dreams.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, let's do this. I want to take a final break, get into what I call the land the plane segment, give you a minute to think about it. But when we get into the next segment, I want to hear if we take away anything from this discussion, this podcast, what would you want us to take away? So let's take another break. We'll hear another segment of It's Not the Getting There, our theme song by Ricky Jean Wright. And we'll be right back with Keith Shaw and the Land the Plane segment of Warrior versus Zombie. All right, Keith. Wow. I think this is great. We've some of us, some people won't know that we're this is take two, and that's all right. You know, I'm very authentic and very transparent, and I'm always learning on the journey. And if we stumble a little bit, you get back up, and you know you might even win the race. So we keep going with that, and I love it. So you got the green light. Let's hear if we take away anything from this, your story, your podcast. What's the most important thing you want us to take away?
So there's a couple of things that I feel are most important. Number one, anything's possible, regardless of the circumstances that you face today. Anything is possible. You know, keep your head up, keep moving forward. Be intentional. I believe that if you are intentional, you can master anything. You can master any skill. You know, some people didn't go to college, so they feel like they're limited. You can, if you're intentional, you can develop a skill that can be just as valuable as a college degree. Keep moving forward. I want to remind people, I want people to take away that personal development is the key to their better future. It's the gateway to their gifts. And I want to make sure that people leave with that. And that leadership is very important as well. That helps you to continue to look at situations and identify what can be done to make things better. So those are the takeaways I like people to have.
I love it. Those are great takeaways. I love the possibility. Anything is possible. The intentionality. And then the fact that it is a journey, and there, you know, people like you, other folks that are, you know, we always need people to come alongside us, remind us. Actually, in my, we're doing a men's breakfast that we do once a month tomorrow, and the focus is starting fresh in 2023. You say it's only February. Well, guess what? People start out with the intention, and they don't have a Keith Shaw or somebody walking alongside of them, and they miss a few days, whatever it is that they started to do, and the consistency drops because maybe it was an intention, maybe it wasn't, maybe they just needed some encouragement to say, okay, take another step. Yeah, one step forward, two step back. It's just brilliant those are so powerful that every warrior, you may have heard it before, you need to act on it. You need to get somebody coming alongside you like Keith or whatever that can help you keep moving down with consistency, because consistency beats intensity every time. So anyway, Keith, let me ask you this. I know this is on the Be Connected platform. The replay will be up there. It'll be on our YouTube channel. So they'll be able to find you that way, reach out to you. I'll work with you on getting your Be Connected presence built out and stuff so that we can make sure that they can find you and leverage that. But how else do you want us to reach out to you? What's the other best way?
Yeah, thanks. So the best way to reach out to me, you can email me. My email address is coachkeith@coachkeithshaw.com. I'd be happy to connect with you, or you can go to my website, which is coachkeithshaw.com.
Very straightforward. coachkeithshaw.com, and Coach Keith at coachkeithshaw.com.
Yes.
Perfect. Also, if you want to hear more of some of Keith's insights and see some of his content, you can come back. I think it was about 2 weeks ago or so that you did a mastermind. We have a weekly mastermind that's also a recorded show on the Be Connected platform, so you can find that as well as on our YouTube channel. So let's land the plane for episode 103 of Warrior versus Zombie. Keith, thank you for joining us today. It's been an awesome journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share this information with you. I just want to close with a message to your listeners. I truly believe that leadership and personal development can change the world. In my heart, I believe this to be true. Be the change. You are the spark because change happens first inside of you. Peace and thank you.
Love it, Keith. And so those listening can join us next week for another episode of Warrior versus Zombie. And I also want to let you know that we just had episode 1 of Triggered by Warrior versus Zombie. And we're starting a new podcast where I'm going to have follow-on discussions that were triggered by my conversation with warriors on Warrior versus Zombie to dive a little deeper into some of the subject areas. So Keith, you may be back on Triggered here, and I've already been in my mastermind. So anyway, and all I can say, one final word: go Chiefs. All right. You guys have a great day.